11:35 on a big show clock, being brought to you by the Iowa Agriculture Water Alliance. Clean Water in Iowa starts here, and we're handling lots of water over the last few days here, gang. We'll talk more projects coming up a little bit. Again, a big thank you to the Iowa Agriculture Water Alliance. Clean Water in Iowa starts with each and every one of us, no matter where we're at. Nathan, we have some severe weather in the state of Iowa. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Monona and Harrison counties, and also Audubon, Carroll, and Crawford. In fact, I think if Dwayne would probably go outside and stand on top of his pickup and look back southwest, he could probably see the top of the clouds.
Well, and a lot of times, direction. Bob, as you know, the weather that affects us here in Rockwell City comes from, the Crawford County area.
Yeah,
so,
it's headed your way.
It's headed my way. Yeah, exactly.
So Nathan, you've got the warning in hand. What's it saying for us?
And I'll add in there also a part of Shelby County that came in on one of the later announcements from the Omaha National Weather Service. It's a combination of some of it was issued by Des Moines, some by Omaha. 4 miles north of Woodbine, 21 miles northwest of Harlan, 21 miles southwest of Denison, moving northeast or east at about 45 miles an hour. Ping pong ball size hail, and there was a report of hail about 4 miles south of Pisgah.
Yeah, well, thanks, Nathan, for the update, and we'll continue following along with that. But know that there is some strong thunderstorms starting to build. And, Dwayne, they're kind of headed your direction.
Yeah, we'll be on the lookout for them.
Well, you keep your eye out there as well. We're going to talk about – go ahead.
And until noon. Sorry.
Oh, until noon. Okay, so we got another 20 minutes or so. I would not be surprised to see some reissue on this as it moves and or later on development into that central Iowa corridor. Brian Hoops on the telephone line with us right now, Midwest Market Solutions. And, Brian, we're talking markets right now, and the soybean market is on a run, double digits higher. Corn also 6-7 cents higher. So what is pushing this commodity market up?
Yeah, we hate to hear those reports about bad weather, hail, tornadoes, that sort of thing. And you never like to hear that any time of the year. We're starting to trade a little bit more fundamentals of corn and soybeans instead of reacting to every tick that the crude oil market is doing. We've kind of become a little desensitized to what happens with crude oil and separated ourselves from that market and looking more at maybe weather, planting conditions, that sort of thing. President Trump did indicate this morning that relations with China are still good, and that kind of eased some tensions that the trade had feared that we would be seeing between the U.S. and China, and maybe the May meeting between President Trump and President Xi would be in jeopardy, but it looks like it's still on. He indicates that China is not sending any ammunitions to Iran, and they are happy with the U.S. controlling the Strait of Hormuz. So beans are getting a little relief rally off of that. Plus, we're seeing possible weather planting delays across the upper Midwest could slow down corn and soybean planting season. Now, we're very early in the season. Soybeans so far on a record pace for planting, but we may run into trouble if, in fact, some of these rain showers do materialize. And conversely, wheat finding some pressure because it is raining in the winter wheat plains areas, and wheat crop needs that rain real badly. So we're seeing a little pressure against that market, although the driest areas of the winter wheat belts, western Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, those areas probably not going to receive any moisture at all, and their crop is going to continue to deteriorate.
Well, Brian, like you say, we're way early, and we've got probably 4 or 5 times to kill this crop off. We tend to do that throughout the season. However, what are you thinking about with November beans now at 11.56? I mean, are you thinking about maybe pricing some more crop?
We've recommended to be almost half sold already at some of these price levels in this area and above. Mm-hmm. And as we approach the 1160 area up to 11, I think our highs were around 1172. Those are our highs, and so we're much closer to our highs than our lows in the case of November soybeans. Now, July, that's not the case, but as far as November goes, get towards 1160, 1170 into 1180 range, absolutely. That's where you want to be pricing some of the crop in here. And if you are in a situation where maybe you've priced quite a bit of the crop already and you feel more comfortable having some flexibility, there's a chance to maybe do some option strategies. The old rule of thumb, back when I started 30 years ago, when you got the planters out of the shed to plant the crop, that's when you bought your put options. And we're in that time frame now where you really need to look at buying those put options.
Quick word on cattle. We're seeing some pressure today. What do you think we're going to be cash cattle this week?
Well, I would expect we are going to be a little bit higher. The Packers' margins are really deeply in the red here, and that's a concern. And they will limit how much cattle they're willing to buy. It affects how much they're willing to pay for these cattle. And box beef at midday was lower, so that's not going to help out those margins. I do think we're going to see probably $1 gain, maybe $2 gain. We didn't receive that last week on a lot of the cattle, and so those cattle, feedlots are happy to carry them over. They'll show this over into this week, and I think they'll do it again on cattle that they can. But we have a cattle and feed report Friday that looks to be friendly, and so I think the ball's in the leverage here is in the feedlots corner at this point.
Brian Hoops with us. Brian, we want to talk markets with you, and we're going to get you back on the phone here in an hour and 10 minutes.
Sure.
If we want to talk markets with you, though, how can we do that?
You can reach me directly at 417-501-5132, or you can go online at MidwestMarketSolutions.com.
Brian Hoops with us. Thanks, Brian. MidwestMarketSolutions.com. Food, fuel, and fun. We speak farm. This is the Big Show. 12:55 on a Big Show clock. And let's take a look at what's going on here in the marketplace. On the phone line with us is Brian Hoops, MidwestMarketSolutions.com. Brian, welcome back. Talked to you a little while ago and talked a little bit about what's going on in the grain trade, and we are seeing some upward movement in corn and soybeans. So what's pushing beans up 10 cents in November and corn up 8 cents December contract?
Yeah, it's great to see those movements to the plus side for once. It's been a little while, and we're getting a lot of rain. In a lot of areas in the Midwest. I know Des Moines had a lot of rain showers the last couple of weeks, and it is going to slow the planting progress. A lot of the progress is being done in the western parts of the Corn Belt where it's been a little bit drier. The rains have been a little bit more intermittent. But you get into the eastern side of the state of Iowa and into the eastern Corn Belt, like Illinois and places like Indiana and even parts of Missouri, it's just too wet to do a lot of field work, and that has limited how much has been done. Now, we did see Monday's report show a record planting pace for soybeans at 6%. We will slow down considerably by next Monday when we get the next numbers from the USDA. But along with the possible planting delays, we're seeing a little uptick there, along with ideas that maybe the tensions between the U.S. and China, which had thought to be really poor and maybe deteriorating, are not so bad, as President Trump today issued a statement that said China's happy with the U.S. arrangements. They want to meet in May, and that they have a good relationship. So that I think left the traders feeling a little bit better about the soybean situation. And we did have a NOPA crush report earlier today. It came in at a new all-time record for the month of March. So I thought that was supportive at 226 million bushels. It was slightly below estimates, but it killed last month's and last year's numbers, let alone setting a new all-time record for the month of March.
Brian, we also hear that the soybean harvest in Brazil is done. So we should be getting some final numbers here, but things wrapping up there.
Yeah, virtually done in most areas in Brazil. Now, there was a company called Conab that came out, their Brazilian agency. They increased Brazil's soybean yields as well as their corn yields. They put the soybean output this morning to 179.1 million tons and corn up to 139.57. So those are, the upward revisions that seem to slowed as we've gotten harvests wrapped up, but those are certainly some very large numbers that the market's having to contend with.
Brian, if folks want to talk markets with you, how can they do that?
You can reach me directly at 417-501-5132, and you can also go online to MidwestMarketSolutions.com. Follow us on Twitter at Midwest Markets and at Brian Hoops.